We should have a post show to this show. Dagan can do it.
I was going to say, go for it. I'm out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are here. We are live. The first episode, the debut of Geekly live here on a Monday, right before Raw, as we rock out. I'm here, as always, with my cohort, live from Wembley Stadium in London, the site of All In 2023.
That's what that is.
How you been, Soda?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a long time coming.
A little bit, yeah. A few months.
A few months, but to finally have our own wrestling channel. This is awesome.
Yes.
Always wanted to do.
Yes, absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We had some things happen and got moved around a little bit. We were originally going to launch this show right around WrestleMania, but some things came up. I won't get into the details live on the air, but we are now here. I think it was probably the best decision that could be made to sort of launch it on our own.
Yeah.
On my own channel. We got the official network here, as you can see. It's So-Dagan Wrestling, which is kind of a mashup of the two of our names.
Yep.
SDW. And, SDW, right. I like that sort of thing. So we're starting basically from scratch, from the very bottom down, all the way there in the back in the bleacher seats here at Wembley Stadium, and we're gonna slowly work our way towards the field, towards the ring, if you would, and try to build this thing up on our own. Because really, I kind of would rather do that than sort of try to use somebody else as a launching pad, and so.
And basically, like the ideas we have, it's just better executed if we separated from the bunch, and that's what we're doing. And it's gonna be fun.
This is going to be fun. So we have not just this show that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing Geekly Live every Monday. We picked this time because, well, it's my day off of my shoot job every week. The place I work is closed on Monday, so easier to schedule that way. And it's also right before Raw, so there might be something we want to talk about or preview before that, whatever that show is, and also right after pay-per-view weekends. So if there's a big show on, Saturday or Sunday usually is when that would happen.
Yeah, perfect time.
We'll be here to sort of talk about it and everything, give our thoughts. But man, it's been a kind of a nothing happening the last few months in pro wrestling. No big stuff that went down. It was just kind of the run-of-the-mill, usual, stuff. No, man, like so much has happened over the last few months since we last did a show that if we were to get into all of it here, we would be here for several hours. So
I don't have it in me.
No, I think we should at least hit on some of the big bullet points, though.
Yeah.
Since we last talked, Cody Rhodes won the big one. He finally had his moment. Oh wait, let me check my notes here.
Nope.
No, he did it exactly as I predicted it would happen. Vince McMahon returns to creative and steps his way in, meddles his little fingers and everything, and Cody Rhodes does not beat Roman Reigns.
I don't. From what I've read, that is not a Vince decision. That actually was in the plan. That was apparently in the plans for a while before Vince.
I don't know. I told you so. I told all you bastards.
You did.
That guy was going to be coming back in some fashion.
Yeah. But if after having some time to think about it, because I too was one of the what the fuck are they doing people? After having time to think about it, I think they could make next year, have him win next year and make it mean more. Because now they're doing the proper journey, the hard times of it all.
No, man, I think they did the hard times when he got injured and was out for all that.
Yeah, that's legit hard times. Yeah,
the whole thing was finish the story. So finish the story eventually. I think it was a really poor decision. There's an article that was just posted today, I think, or maybe yesterday. It was about the whole Cody thing. And basically, I think that it was comicbook.com, I believe. And it was, why the decision has aged poorly, basically. And they kind of get into it. But I thought they had it. They had it right in front of them.
Oh, I 100%
This
agree.
is the easy decision to make. A lot of good stuff they could do after the fact. Like that. If that Brock versus Cody match was for the title, would have been way better. All sorts of stuff that just didn't age well, because now Roman Reigns is just doing nothing, and meandering around as 1,000 Days is.
And now they've kind of backed themselves into the corner, which is why we've got the new World Heavyweight Championship and all that stuff.
New belt, and you got this stupid draft and all this WWE crap. So for me personally, like, I don't know if this is gonna turn a lot of people off from watching the show just right off the bat, but I'm not really interested in WWE right now, like, kind of at all. I think there's a lot better storylines and things happening elsewhere. I like. So we got my buddy Payton here in the chat. He says Orange Cassidy right now has been going through more diversity.
Oh, totally.
That's absolutely right.
Like he's been banged the fuck up.
Yeah, if you talk about probably the greatest title run of any champion in 2023 so far, it's hands down Orange Cassidy with the international title. Oh, I would have, because I know how great Orange Cassidy is.
He's
had
been
for
some
years.
Great matches. Always setting the tone for Dynamite with the opening match. He's I don't want to say carrying the company, but he might as well be.
Kind of is, yeah. Well, that's a good, I think, segue to talk about AEW, because there's been a lot going on over there as well. Not selling out quite yet, but selling over 65,000 tickets for this show in London, where we're currently residing right now.
We're in line for when they open.
We're in the stadium. Yeah, we're in line to get into the show. I think that in and of itself is a very impressive feat, and kind of, you got these dorks on the internet that always like, oh, they didn't get 1 million viewers this week on TV, so they must be dying. Oh, I guarantee that AEW will be bankrupt in 6 months, like all this stuff.
What about the scalpers? Who cares? They bought tickets.
Yeah, or Tony Khan purchased 10,000 tickets just to say that they sold more. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, it's not how that works. But yeah, they've sold over 65,000 tickets, which is more. Okay, you have your actual attendance figure, and then you have your gimmick number. WWE claims however many were at WrestleMania this year, but if you go to WrestleTix, it's a great resource if anybody's interested in, like, kind of how tickets are being sold for a particular event, or just like after the fact, what was the gate, all this kind of stuff. Check out WrestleTix. Is WrestleTix on Twitter, and then he also has a Patreon that's worth subscribing to as well. It's only like $2 a month.
Nice.
Gets you like codes if you want to buy tickets for an event. He'll put the pre-sale codes up there and everything like that. But his number that he registered for WrestleMania for both nights was about 65,000, which is about how many AEW has sold for. So this is going to be a WrestleMania-sized crowd for this event.
Wimbledon's always been a big crowd, and UK fans are an untapped market.
Yeah. And there's so many possibilities of stuff that they could do. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the CM Punk stuff yet, but just like, Will Ospreay on the card.
Maybe that's on the show.
Right. Maybe that's where Will Ospreay finally gets his big win over Kenny Omega, because you think
I thought it would be Forbidden Door. You're saying Wembley Stadium. It's going to be one of the two for sure.
They could have both. They could have two matches. They could have
rubber match. Yeah.
They have one at Forbidden Door where Kenny wins again for some reason. Maybe there's some Don Callis shenanigans that go down. Although I kind of figured they might save that for Wembley Stadium. But I'm thinking like Kenny Omega wins the rematch at Forbidden Door, and then Ospreay has to get another shot, and then he finally gets the big win at Wembley Stadium. Is maybe a route that they could go. But yeah, that there's a lot of exciting potential for that show. There's a lot of big stuff that AEW has planned for this year, including Collision, which just got announced recently. They got the Saturday show now, so it's going to be Saturdays at for 2 hours, starting at I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if they've confirmed those details yet, but I think the whole idea behind this show is that it's kind of they're going to separate the rosters a bit.
Yeah, there's going to be a roster split.
Going to be a bit of a roster split, but not to the level where they're like, there's a draft and these guys are going here and these guys are going there. It's more so like, you're going to see guys on certain shows and that's where they're going to be.
When in reality, it's more like, okay, those who want to work with CM Punk, if he does actually make an appearance, you can do Collision. The rest of you definitely can do Dynamite. Those who don't care, float around.
Right. Or like the reports are that Thunder Rosa had problems with Britt Baker, right? Well, Britt Baker can be on Dynamite. Thunder Rosa can be on Collision, right?
Thunder Rosa is going to be on Collision.
Right. Andrade, we know he's had issues with Sammy. I kind of surprised that they brought him back in general.
Too, actually.
But Andrade, he'll be on Collision. Sammy Guevara, he'll be on Dynamite. So you kind of see that happen with the roster and everything, which, if
Jericho is going to be on Collision as well.
Yeah, with the amount of drama that has gone down in AEW over the last couple of years, I don't know if this is the solution. Right. I don't know if it's the solution, but I think it's a solution.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like,
and the benefit to come out of this is now we're going to probably get more, like everyone's complaining about, they got all these contracted wrestlers and all that stuff. Well, now more of them will be able to get on TV because they have this other show.
Right. So you got those people being like,
what's going to happen to Rampage?
Yeah, well, I think the reports are that Rampage is kind of going to be like what Dark, like AEW Dark was. So it's like you're not going to see. It's just going to kind of be an extra sort of hour of TV. It's not going to get any big marquee matches on there. They've kind of, I think, thrown in the towel in regards to the ratings for that show. Yeah. I mean, it's all
pretty much it's tanked at this point.
It's like kind of almost their C show at this point. You could even argue that Ring of Honor is their B show, but
Ring of Honor is going to be touring with Collision, like it's going to be taping at the same time.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that this Collision thing is a success because I do like to see AEW succeed. Where we're at right now this week, and we may have some changes to this. I'm sure we'll find out more on Wednesday. Is that the reports are that CM Punk, who was supposed to be announced as the big star, the centerpiece surrounding Collision, that yet again there's been some issues with him, and primarily regarding the return of Ace Steel. Reports are that how they hired this freaking lunatic back, I don't know, but they apparently they hired him back a few weeks ago. He's been working remotely, and the issues, and this has been reported by Meltzer and Sean Ross Sapp and all the usual dirt sheet guys, is that they're under the impression that Ace Steel would be on site as a producer for Collision every Saturday.
And apparently so did CM Punk.
And that was kind of what the idea that they had going in. Well, then the day of this big announcement, they were told that no, Ace Steel has to continue to work remotely, and he will not be on site. And apparently Punk is not happy about this and sort of is demanding that he be brought in every week. So
Punk needs to calm down. Ace Steel bit a man.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a conundrum that I think they're in. I don't know if it's like, because Tony Khan, in theory, has the final say over, all right, let's compromise here. We'll have Ace Steel there because Punk is demanding it, and we need Punk on the show for the ratings, right? Because, I'll get to the question I'm going to ask here in a second, but I just wonder if, like, Warner Brothers Discovery also has some say, because the reports are that they've signed this new big deal with Warner Brothers. AEW signed a new deal with Warner Brothers Discovery that includes Collision, but also gives them all the rights to like Dark and like the library, which maybe we'll see pop up on HBO Max. We got this new Max thing that's launching here pretty soon. So having AEW as a part of that, I think, is appealing to a lot of people. But I guess my question here, can Collision succeed if somehow they determine Punk and Ace Steel are no more? They're gone. Like, because I think where they're at is like, if they can't come to some kind of agreement with those two guys, then what the hell are they going to do with them? They're just going to have to kind of fire them, right? But the idea was that, okay, bring back Punk. He's a ratings draw. He's a proven ratings draw. People tune in to watch him, no matter what you or me may think of the guy personally. And he sells tickets. So Chicago, the United Center, that was the rumored location for this first Collision show that's going to launch. So the idea was that's where you have Punk return. And for the big, sold out Chicago crowd that loves Punk, even after all that shit went down, you had that one show in Chicago where the Elite were just trolling the Punk fans, which I absolutely love. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of this does unfortunately hinge on CM Punk and Ace Steel, and if something can be worked out, because I think without the presence of CM Punk on that show, without him sort of being there every week, it's just going to kind of be another, like, Saturday's a really tough night in general. You're going to have college football that you're going to go up against. It's the weekends. A lot of people are out. They don't want to sit at home and watch TV. But if Punk is not on that show to at least kind of get the ratings up a little bit, then what are they going to do? It's just going to be another Rampage. It's going to be like, 200, 300,000 viewers, average. And that I don't think that that's a good sign for, this potential new deal that they signed to have a show that's, it's not doing as well in the ratings. But I don't know. I feel like it's not like AEW is going to be failing anytime soon.
No.
But I just wonder how much of this is contingent on CM Punk in order for them to succeed with this new show.
I think, it depends. I do think without CM Punk, they can still succeed. But
sure. I mean, there's 65,000 people going to 70,000 people for Wembley Stadium, regardless.
We've been fine without Punk here for a while. But I do think in the long term, he would be more beneficial for the show. It's just, if the rumors are true, CM Punk kind of just needs to chill.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what his deal is, man. Like, for somebody that's so high on, no pun intended, being sober and straight edge and never, like, doing any drugs or alcohol, this guy's got some like serious problems that you'd almost attribute to some kind of alcohol use or something, like people who are belligerent to that level. It's like there's something going on there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, I almost don't trust somebody that is, never had a drink of alcohol in their life, or never smoked a joint, or done anything, like that. Like, it's almost like, I don't know about you, man. Like, there's some weird something going on there. I don't know. Just maybe that's just my stoner ramble of the day. But
no,
you know what I mean?
He's a well-known stubborn son of a bitch. But I will say, though, he's been stubborn and been right a lot. So, I mean, in the wrestling world, it kind of does get him the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, he's got to realize Ace Steel bit a fucking man. He needs to chill.
Right.
Like, he's lucky to have a job, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I think the problem is he wants a bodyguard. He wants somebody there. He wants his boy.
He's got plenty of other boys he could probably bring in. That doesn't sound right. He's probably got plenty of other friends he could bring in.
Yeah. I don't know. This is one of those situations where I think we gotta kind of wait and see, at least for another few days, and we'll have a better idea on Wednesday where this all stands, because either Tony Khan has promised that they're going to announce the location of the first Collision show, and if it's the United Center in Chicago, We got Punk.
You'd have to have Punk on that show, because could you imagine if they did in Chicago and
oh my god,
holy
the
shit,
crowd would just hijack the show. Yeah. And if it's announced as the location is for Daly's place in Jacksonville, for example, then I think that there's a big issue with Punk that can't be resolved with potentially with Ace Steel and everything. So yeah, I guess this is one where we kind of have to wait until Wednesday to see how it all goes down.
Chicago is obviously the ideal, but Daly's place is actually a pretty good backup, just because if you're debuting a new show, you want to debut it in front of a hot crowd, and those are two of the hottest crowds that AEW has, because Chicago is just one of the biggest hotbeds in wrestling ever, and because Daly's place was their home for 2 years during the pandemic. There is that. There's just something special about it. It's like, MSG in the old WWE days type thing. It's like Daly's place, AEW. I think it would be it's a great backup, in my opinion.
You always gotta love when your parents know that you're live on the air, and then they try to hijack the show halfway through here. So breaking kayfabe for a second. I am in my mother's house here today because the internet is way better. I didn't want to deal with all that crap. So there you go. I don't think there's much more to kind of discuss about the whole Punk stuff.
No.
I've heard enough hours of people speculating wildly and yelling and screaming at each other on the internet about it that I kind of would rather talk about.
It's old hat at this point. It's like a week doesn't go by where you don't hear about something with CM Punk. So it's just like,
Yeah. Well, we do have a big show for AEW coming up this coming weekend for Double or Nothing. So maybe I'll do the old watch along gimmick on Sunday. We'll see.
Nice.
I have to think about that one and discuss it more later. But there's a big card for the show. So if you watched AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, I think the big takeaway from that show, the big deal that happened, was the return of the Elite, the reunion of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page, which was just absolutely brilliant. I love the way it was done with Don Callis coming out there and all this stuff. And really, really good go-home show. Actually, it wasn't the go-home show. The go-home show is this Wednesday. But with AEW, it feels like Dynamite the week before the pay-per-view feels more like the go-home show than the week of the actual go-home show, because it seems like they do a lot of like video packages and promos and
it's because that's when it's time to get hype, where it's not like WWE where you have to get so much done within 4 to 5 weeks.
Right.
Here you get what, 2 months, something like that, 2.5 months.
Yeah,
so
usually,
you have time to give those moments and let them breathe.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it makes sense for them to have the Elite reform this past week. This week they're going to have the even bigger face-off than they had before, and then come Saturday, the match that I was already excited. This match made me even more excited for Double or Nothing. Anarchy in the fucking arena.
I saw a lot of people saying this is what sold them. Okay, I'm buying the pay-per-view now. If I wasn't before, I'm buying it now. Yeah, so we got our buddy Vermont Mike in the chat here. He's asking us if AEW is still in business. Yeah, that guy on the internet that told me that they'd be bankrupt within 6 months. I think I might have been given some false information, because like they sold 70,000 tickets to Wembley Stadium
pre-sale
in August. So
pre-sale.
I think they're still in business. I think over $6 million gate might help with that a little bit. I don't know. I was getting a little worried there though.
They're doing all right.
I think they'll be fine. But yes, the big match, which almost feels like it should be the main event, as much as like the 4-way probably will still be in that main event slot, because MJF will throw fit if it's not. But it definitely feels like it's gonna be like a co-main event situation with
Averbuck Mike, who cares? They still
Anarchy in the
sold the
Arena.
tickets.
Tony Elite bought 50,000 of those tickets. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier on the show. That one makes me laugh. It's funny. It's interesting because people were saying that about that first Arthur Ashe Stadium show.
Yeah.
Back in 2021, and they said that Tony Khan bought up about 10,000 tickets for that. And I don't know. I guess he must have given all those tickets away or something, because I was at that show and I looked up and around, and it was pretty full. There was a person in pretty much every seat for that event. So I was like, what? I thought there was supposed to be 10,000 empty seats here. What's going on? That same guy on the internet again. He gave me some false information, but I'll do a quick rundown of the card here for Double or Nothing. This is what's been officially announced so far. We have 9 matches, which seems like a lot, and it'll probably seem like even more once they add about 84 more matches on social media between now and Sunday. But confirmed as of now, one that I think probably should be on the pre-show is this Ethan Page and the Ass Boys, as I like to call them, against the Hardys and Brother Zay, Mr. Moan Man, or whatever they're calling him, who I guess has a pretty severe neck injury. I don't know if it's kayfabe one or not, but I have a feeling this match it may or may not take place, but we'll see. We also got Chris Jericho versus Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match coming up there.
This is gonna be fucking good.
Man, that Chris Jericho, Roderick Strong, what was that? A Falls Count Anywhere match on Dynamite? That was so fucking good.
That felt so old school.
Oh, it was so great.
It was so great. And then they got outside the arena and and there's Adam Cole. You're like, well, he's technically not doing anything wrong. He couldn't step foot in the arena. Oh, they're not in the arena, folks.
It was one of those things was like where they were setting it up like it was kind of obvious what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Everybody's banned from the building. They can't be in the building, right? Adam Cole's not allowed in the building. We're doing a Falls Count Anywhere match. So they're obviously going to brawl through the arena and end up on the outside. And then, yes, of course, that's how it went down. Sometimes there's the obvious things in wrestling are the best things to do. And yes, Chris Jericho got pinned in the flower beds outside the arena, which I absolutely loved. So we got that match. We got the Jericho Adam Cole, which is an unsanctioned match. So it's one of these lights out, I think, type of deal.
It's a lights out style. Basically, it's Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 2002 was an unsanctioned match.
Right.
Doesn't go referee there, but it technically, if you look
count
at it technically doesn't count against their. It's a version of a lights out match,
which they can then use to continue the feud because whoever
lights out matches typically are are reserved for main events because that's where logically the show's over. We turn out the lights. Now you're all on your fucking own.
Which is funny because I don't think that's going to be the case here because you got 2 other matches they're going to be in the.
Yeah, so I think that's why they're naming it an unsanctioned match because it's the same thing minus the literal lights out part.
Right. But we also have Orange Cassidy defending his international title, not just this week against Kyle Fletcher of Aussie Open. We'll talk a little bit more about Aussie Open later, but he will be defending it in a 21-man blackjack battle royale. So I'm sure that'll be a hell of a fun time. We also got Jade Cargill putting her TBS title on the line against Taya Valkyrie. I'm hoping that Taya wins, that we can finally have this Jade thing end. But I think the fact that we haven't seen Ms. Chris Statlander return yet, who's apparently been good to go here for a few weeks now, is an indication that Jade will retain and that Chris will show up at the end of the match, make her big return, and then they'll have that match where Jade finally loses to Statlander down the road. That's kind of how I'm predicting it. We also have Wardlow against Christian Cage in a ladder match. I can't even believe Christian at his age is still going to be wrestling ladder matches because that pretty much retired him before.
Yeah, but I think he's doing it smarter now because he wrestles so infrequently. That's why you have Luchasaurus as the heater.
Yeah. We also got FTR against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal of all people for the AEW tag titles.
That's going to be another great match.
It's going to be a blast, especially because we have special guest referee Mark Briscoe.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I love the bit on Dynamite where they snuck up behind Satnam Singh and they shoved them off the stage.
Yes.
And then afterwards, when he finally comes out when they're beating down FTR, he just like a fucking cartoon, like.
I also loved the spot where Dax got blinded by the alcohol and he accidentally gave a pile driver to Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
That was another great part of this build. Then we also have Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm in a rematch from, I think, Full Gear last year, but the roles are kind of reversed where Tony Storm is now the heel, obviously, and Jamie Hayter, and they got the whole Outcast thing, which I feel like is building towards Blood and Guts, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's building towards a stipulation match of some point.
Yeah, I think so. With all of them involved.
Yeah.
So we got that. And we got Anarchy in the Arena, which we already discussed. And then the main event, the Pillars, Fatal 4-Way, the AW Pillars, MJF defending against Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Jack Perry. And if I'm going to make one prediction, I think this is going to be an awesome match in ring. I know there have been a lot of critics that have been vocal about the build for this and some of the directions that they've gone.
I think it's fun moments.
I think it's been fine. It hasn't been like amazing. It hasn't been the elite in the Blackpool Combat Club, but it's still been solid. I would say
we've had the rebar mitzvah from this, which is
my god, that was great.
We had the MJF appreciation night in Long Island, which was awesome, where he sang with the band. Like, we've had some pretty darn good stuff.
Yes. And again, if I'm going to make any prediction about this, I think that by the end of this match, Sammy Guevara, which kind of already happened, will have fully turned babyface.
Yeah.
And I also think...
Let's see if it sticks this time.
Yes. I also think that Jack Perry will turn heel.
Yeah.
And he's going to do something dastardly where maybe he helps MJF win, or he like low blows one of the guys and then just walks out. Like something's going to go down with Jack Perry because I feel like the crowd has been slowly turning on him. And the way they've been booking it, like he won this match last week where he rolled up Roosh with the tights. It's a very heel thing to do. So I think that the way that they've been booking it feels like it might be time to turn this guy heel.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's going to turn heel eventually, but I don't think it's going to have any involvement.
Low blow to Darby. There you go.
I don't think it's going to be like an alignment with MJF. But
I don't know if that's a direction they could go, but I feel like he'd be better off as just a nasty heel singles guy
with an edge.
Yes. Oh yeah, and Peyton asking if he'd get new music. I think he'd absolutely have to. He'd have to. Now, no one's gonna people booing to the whoa.
Yeah. Jericho is the only exception to that rule, basically.
Yeah, right. Judas, it works both ways. But there you go. So that's Double or Nothing coming up on Sunday. There's a chance we might do a watch along for that here on this channel. So we'll have to talk. But speaking of pay-per-views, another big pay-per-view show that I watched last night was New Japan Resurgence, which I would say if anybody has been not watching or not following New Japan or anything recently, not as into it, if you're a pro wrestling fan, watch this show. You should go out of your way to watch this show. This is one of the best New Japan shows I've seen in quite some time. It's up there with like the Tokyo Dome for me. Like this show from top to bottom. Well, we'll get to the bottom here in a bit, but every single match on this show was great to awesome. The thing that happened at the end aside, this show was absolutely freaking phenomenal. It opened with just a totally fun, everybody going all out tag match with you had Zack Sabre Jr. in there and TMDK and that whole thing. That was great. You had this mini women's tournament to crown the inaugural New Japan Strong women's title, which is only New Japan Strong has been around since the early days of the pandemic, so about 3 years now. And this is only the third belt in their existence. They had the New Japan Strong open weight title, which is kind of their main title, and the New Japan Strong tag titles. But this is the third belt they're introducing. It's the women's belt, which is great because then you can bring in all these ladies and build up another very impressive looking women's division, which I'm very excited to kind of see.
Built stateside too.
Yeah, because New Japan, the women's presence in New Japan hasn't really been a thing until recently. So very happy to see that. So you had Mercedes Moné taking on Stephanie. I don't know if I can pronounce it correctly. I think it's Valquez, Valcaire. I don't know. But anyway, match was very, very good. Both the opening rounds. You also had Jungle Kono taking on Willow Nightingale. So that was those two matches. The winners of those two faced off in the main event. So that ended up being Willow and Mercedes. We also had just the most absolutely batshit insane Fred Rosser versus Juice Robinson street fight involving Tony Storm. So by the end of it became a 2-on-1 street fight. And the booking was very weird. It was very much like Fred Rosser was being booked as the heel and Juice Robinson and Tony Storm as the baby faces, even though it was clearly not. And so far that Fred Rosser forced himself on Tony Storm and kissed her at one point. Very controversial spot in this match.
Well, I was going to say, it's not like it means anything.
He's gay. He is gay, so you could factor that in. But I saw a lot of people were really angry that they put that spot in there. But
roll up.
Yeah. Pro wrestling. It's not real, guys. I hate to tell you all, but this match
a clip of that guy going, it's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah. But man, there was just some ridiculous stuff happening in this match. I can't even do it justice. You just have to go and watch it. And then we had Kenta defending the New Japan Strong openweight title against Hikuleo, which started off. I was laughing and laughing. It started off with Kenta going for the belt shot on Hikuleo and just gets met by a straight boot to the face. It was the funniest fucking opening spot I've seen in a while.
Nice.
And match starts, and they pretty much immediately start brawling on the outside. And what's great about New Japan is that a lot of times the ref will just let them brawl on the outside for a long time, and he just runs over and starts yelling at him to get it back in the ring, and then they won't. So he goes finally, after a few minutes, goes back and starts making the count. But here it was just the ref was just following them around and yelling at them to get back in the ring, to the point where they're brawling up the side of the first level of seating.
Yeah.
Kind of on the edge, and they're fighting in the kind of the aisle, the far aisle, and the ref is telling him to get back in the ring, and Kenta just straight up just boots the ref, just straight down the stairs, no, get the hell out of here, we're brawling more.
Nice.
And they set up the table. The crowd got really excited early on in the match. They really wanted to see the table, and Kenta, they teased just absolute brutality on the cement steps as on the edge of the balcony. Where it looked like Hikuleo was going to choke slam him on, but Kenta fights out and tosses Hikuleo over the side of the level of seating through the table, which was just an awesome, awesome spot.
Sounds painful.
And then in the middle of all this nonsense, you hear the ref start to make his count, and Kenta slowly crawls his way back into the ring, beats the count at about 17, just a 20 count in New Japan.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Hikuleo cannot get up, and the ref counts 19-20. Kenta retains via count out, and I think that there were people that obviously didn't like this finish, but I think that the majority of the people actually did. It was one of the few times where there was a count out victory, and the majority of the crowd was like, "Yeah," because it's
the way. Hearing you describe it, it sounds very Rocky 2-ish.
Sure.
Right?
No. Here's how this is how I would put it. In WWE, you see stupid bullshit finishes all the time, and there's a count out, and it's just why? Why did you do a count out there? It made no sense. This was a count out because the guy got tossed over the fucking arena into a table and couldn't get up.
Exactly. It meant something.
Yeah. It's obviously.
Yeah.
So I like that finish. I thought that was really good.
That sounds like a pretty good finish.
Yeah. And then we also had this trios match, which was absolutely just out of control, awesome, with Okada, Ishii, and I'm trying to remember who the third member of that group was. Rocky Romero taking on Shota Umino, who you've seen, as part of the Blackpool Combat Club with Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. And the match ended after just all sorts of great stuff with these you got some of the all-time greats in there with Ishii and Okada and Moxley, and they teased.
Although not according to Jim Cornette.
They teased Moxley and Okada for Forbidden Door. So
that'd be fun.
Let's do that match, please. Yes, please, and thank you. But that match actually ended with Shota pinning Rocky. So that was kind of an interesting sort of thing there. I'm just I just want to confirm that it was in fact Rocky, because sometimes I get stuff mixed up because there's so much going on in one spot. Yes, it was Rocky. That's correct. But we also had Will Ospreay and Tanahashi, which, guys, it's Will Ospreay and Tanahashi. They're going to have a fucking awesome match. They had a fucking awesome match. Highly recommend you check that out. The main event.
Although the ending was, kind of obvious when you know who's winning.
Yeah, it's going to be Ospreay and Forbidden Door. So it's just how do we get there? But then we had our main event, which is Willow and Mercedes for the new New Japan Strong Women's title, and they were having a pretty damn good match. I mean, the crowd was just molten hot for this, with the historical significance of first ever New Japan Women's main event for this new belt. You got Mercedes in there, obviously super over.
Yeah, which is historic because not only was she in this main event, but she was also in the very first WWE main event on pay-per-view for females.
Yep. So, I mean, the crowd was just so super into this. And this is awesome chance before they even locked up. And just some really great wrestling. And unfortunately, it got to a point where it was getting really, really good. The crowd was super into it. Mercedes goes to the top rope to do a move. I'm not sure what she was planning on doing.
The way it looked it probably was going to end up with Willow or something, maybe having a superplex, because the way it looked like that position that Mercedes was going into, because I've seen moves like that before.
Right.
It looked like they're getting set up for a superplex of some sort.
But they're getting set up for something, and she kind of lost her balance and she slipped and wiped out on the outside and looked like she landed on her leg.
Her ankle,
awkwardly landed. So they had to kind of go home early from what we could tell. They wrestled a little bit more with her with the broken foot. But what unfortunately happened was the ref didn't get the memo, and they go for the finish. Willow hits her with the power bomb, and the ref counts 1, 2, and then stops. And clear as day, Mercedes did not kick out. The announcers were trying to be like, she kicked out just by an inch, but no, there was some confusion, and the Japanese ref was kind of definitely looked a little confused. I think one of them whispered what they were doing, and they did it again. Willow hits a second power bomb and gets the win and gets crowned the new champion. So, from all the reports that I heard this morning about this, it was the plan for Mercedes to win this match. Willow definitely in her promo acted a bit kind of maybe surprised. You could tell she was just okay, I'm the champion, and kind of thing. And man, I could not be more happy for Willow, because I feel like she's been needing a big moment like this, and to beat Mercedes and everything is awesome. I'm so happy for Willow. I just wish it was under better circumstances.
Right. She's definitely a star on the rise. I agree with you. It should have been under better circumstances. Yeah. But also I want to give a shout out to, I heard it was Tamina Snuka who was there.
Yes.
And helped to get Mercedes to the back and stuff like that. And I was like, right on.
Everything you hear about Tamina is that she's just one of the utmost professional, just amazingly sweetheart, just totally awesome.
Sean Ross, I think it was Sean Ross Sapp this morning when that came out. He tweeted that Chelsea Green had told him that she's pretty sure her wrist would have been shattered if it wasn't for Tamina taking charge and getting her out of there.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Props to Tamina for that. But man, I just hope Mercedes is okay. The reports are that it's a broken ankle, which means that she'll be out for a few months at least. And it's a bummer because I think probably the plan was to have her win this belt and then defend it at Forbidden Door. I would be surprised if that wasn't going to be the case. And then who knows where they would have gone from that, because I think her contract status was like for a few more matches. And AEW's got this big show coming up at the TD Garden in Boston in July, and we all know that's her hometown. So maybe that would have been the spot for her to debut for AEW. But unfortunately, I think all we can do is wish her well and hope that she comes back. At some point, and maybe we'll be able to do a match at like Wembley Stadium or something, because that'll be August. That's 3 months away. Maybe she'll be. I think like a broken ankle takes about 3 months usually to. Yeah,
if it heals correct, but she'll be fine.
Yeah, she doesn't need surgery. Fingers crossed for that. But anyway, happy for Willow. I think that's going to be a cool thing that they can work with, because it's an AEW wrestler as a champion for New Japan, which I always love to see. And we'll see what kind of match they have for her at Forbidden Door, because I think that's probably something they can do. So bringing somebody from Stardom like Julia or somebody, that's my dream match. I'd love to see her at Forbidden Door. But I'm trying to think if there's really anything else. And that kind of pretty much wraps up the week. As I said, like we would be here for 3 hours if we went back and recapped everything since March. But
you get sick and tired of hearing us talk about CM Punk.
Yeah, that's for sure. But
there was one thing actually that I do want to touch on. They announced the date of the release of the video game. It's going to pretty quick.
AEW Fight Forever. It will be released a couple days after Forbidden Door.
Yeah, it's in June sometime.
June 29th, 2056. That's how long we have to wait. How long it feels like we've had to wait for this one. But, June 29th, right after Forbidden Door, I believe, is what they had. There's an official press release from AEW today. But I'm happy that we're finally getting that game. I'm not like a huge gamer or anything, but it's one of those things where I'll go over to a buddy's house and play it for sure and see how kind of it all goes down.
I hope it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it. Like, this game was announced in 2020, I believe.
It was announced in 2020, but from what I read, like, it's been gestating since like the early days of AEW.
Yeah, no, it's been something that's been on the docket for a while here. THQ Nordic and AEW announced release date for Fight Forever, June 29th. So there you go. That's very exciting, I think, for a lot of people. I'm curious to see like how it compares to something like a WWE 2K game, which is very much like a simulator kind of thing, and the controls can be a little wonky. This seems like it's more of
it's going back to the old days.
Yeah.
The glory days, quote unquote.
Classic arcade game type of
feel. Yeah, because like think about it. Like Kenny Omega is heavily involved with this game. Aubrey Edwards is heavily involved in this game, because for those who don't know, she was a video game designer before she became a referee. She's pretty heavy deep into the game. And these are the people that grew up on the same games that I grew up on, which is No Mercy, WCW Revenge, WrestleMania 2000. And that's what it looks like it's going back to, which is so we're gonna have the simulator games like WWE, and that this is gonna be more the arcade style game.
Yes. I'm all for it.
Me too.
I'm really glad that they're not just going in the direction of, well, 2K has their game, so we'll do our game, and it'll be like kind of a...
Yeah, I just hope it has a great creative player. I love creating wrestlers.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what because part of the press release said that they have classic AEW arenas in here, so probably like Daly's Place, Jacksonville. The most recent one of the more recent promos that they put out for the game had a computerized digital rendering of Arthur Ashe Stadium with my giant geek sign that I made in there. So the entire literally in this game, if they have an Arthur Ashe Stadium map, we're probably in it, because I remember that being the case around that time. they were telling people, oh, we're getting renderings for the game, so you might be in one of the crowd shots. So, dude, if me and Tyler are in this game, like
that'd be freaking
so cool. I'm in a video game, guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where's my royalties?
Yeah, right. So that was in the promo, the digital rendering of the Arthur Ashe Stadium with the giant geek sign. So we'll see.
Pretty cool.
We'll see if that happens. Yeah, guys. If you didn't know, today is my birthday.
Yes,
so Mazel
tov. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday shout outs in the chat. I appreciate it, guys. And I think we're going to be doing some partying a little bit later on. So if you guys are watching this live, you notice that we are on the So-Dagan Wrestling YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@So-Dagan Wrestling. But I also have my main channel, which I've kind of reworked a little bit, which I've had for well over a decade now, which is the Dagan Mall. So youtube.com/@the-Dagan Mall. I might have to change it so it's a little bit easier to find, but if you type in that URL, we're going to be doing a hangout a little bit later on tonight. So myself and Matt Munoz and maybe some other folks as well will be just live streaming and shooting the shit and hanging out. So if you guys want to come over there, I think we're going to probably go live about, 7:30 Pacific, somewhere around there. So that's about probably like after 10 p.m. Eastern is what we're kind of aiming towards right now. So impromptu Dagan Day celebration over on my channel, because I want to test out and see how doing a live stream over there will work as well. So there you go, everybody. Thank you all. Oh, wow. Christian Harloff said happy birthday. And then he likes you a lot. That's awesome. Where did that come from? Was somebody in one of his live streams? And
either that or maybe someone said it on Twitter.
Yeah, someone you have to fill me in on the details for that. I have to go check that out. Yeah, I love Christian Harloff, man. He's a good dude.
Yep.
And I'm very curious to see how his future goes. Post Schmodown, I think he's been doing a lot of good stuff over on his channel as well. Kind of branding as himself as Christian Harloff. So really, really happy to see that. Oh, he had a Q&A with PLD today. Okay, awesome. So someone must have mentioned that it was my birthday over there. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for thinking of me over there. But there you go, guys. The debut episode of So-Dagan Wrestling Geekly Live. We're going to be here every Monday, as we mentioned, right before Raw and right after the pay-per-views to talk pro wrestling. And I'm not like crazy structured with this. I kind of feel like we should do it like we did today, where we don't have to do a full 45-minute recap review of Dynamite. We can just talk about the stuff we want to,
Well, exactly, because the way we're falling right in the middle. So I mean, we can talk about the big things if we want, but yeah.
Hell yeah. This is what's great about this and doing it here on our own channel is we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
I love it. It's full creative freedom. I'm so excited. Nice. We can have whoever we want. We can have special guests join us here. We can do a show where we just ramble and talk about whatever,
Yeah. Nothing's done by committee anymore.
Right. I don't have to run everything by a team of people. Every tiny little decision. Okay, I've said too much. Let's get the fuck out of here before I get in trouble or get an angry DM from somebody. I'm not going to get in trouble, but I might get an angry DM. So, Soda, thank you so much, as always, for joining me here as my cohort in command. And why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and what you got coming up?
My personal Instagram and Twitter, it's Soda_the_Saxman. And of course, over on the Northern Entertainment Group, where I do the show Fun with Flags. And I'm more often than not guesting on 50 Shades of Geeks show, the greatest show in the galaxy. So definitely over there.
Speaking of 50 Shades of Geek, our boy over there in Israel, we got some involving him that I think we'll be announcing soon for this channel. So very excited to.
Yep, still figuring out a little bit on how it's going to work, but it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, there you go, everybody. Thanks all for the few of you that tuned in live, and then those who will be tuning in after the fact. Hopefully, we'll get some folks watching the replay there.
Mhm.
As always, it helps the algorithm and helps boost us here at the very beginning stages of So-Dagan Wrestling. If you give the video a like and share it and subscribe to the channel. I know we only got like 25 people so far, but that's not bad for a channel that literally just was birthed. So there you go. And we will be back next week to talk some Double or Nothing. We'll be talking that. And in the meantime, guys, thank you so much again. And we will talk to you all soon. Cheers, everybody.